Okay. So today we are going to talk about the IP address. Okay. So we will talk about the IP address. Okay. So before we get started with IP address, we will try to understand what you mean by a network or a communication. Network or communication. Because the entire IT infrastructure is stand on the network. If there is no network, entire the information technology will be become vanish. Correct? It won't be available. It won't be there. Okay, it will get collapsed. Correct, na? So communication means that is in exchanging the information between two different computers or two different parties. Okay, the medium what we use, that is called as network. The network can be either intranet or internet. Okay, there are two types of network again in the industry. One is intranet, another one is internet. Intranet, another one is internet. So intranet means, say for example, you have an office. Okay, within your office you have about 10-20 computers. Okay, you may have a switch here. All the computers are interconnected here. Okay, so this is called as intranet, the communication between your office network or the devices within your office, that is called as intranet, because it is within your office network. Okay, that is called as intranet. Another one is internet. Internet means it is publicly exposed, means you can access that over the internet. Say for example, now today you have an internet connection, maybe you have a Geo connection or maybe Airtel connection or Tata or Reliance, whatever it is. Okay, but today I am sitting in somewhere and you are sitting in somewhere. Correct, and we are all collaborate together and we are having this class. That is possible over the internet. If there is no internet, or if there is no network connection, internet connection, you will not be able to communicate with me, or you will not be able to join the classes. That is called as internet. Basically intranet means it is within the network. Internet means it is between the it is the outer external world. It is a public network. Okay, any question here? Internet is very very important. Okay, so again in the intranet we have multiple things actually. Okay, so let me explain them also little bit. Have you ever heard LAN? What do you mean by LAN? What do you mean by LAN, guys? Have you ever heard what is LAN?
Local area networks.
Okay, local area network means what? So local area network in the sense you have a network that is within your office premises. Again, okay. Say for example, you are working in Microsoft. Consider you are working in Microsoft. You are working in a company called Microsoft. Okay. So Microsoft has got multiple offices in India only. If you consider India, so in India we have offices in Bangalore. You have offices in Hyderabad. You have offices in Gurgaon. You have the office in Pune. Okay, so this is Bangalore. This is Hyderabad. This is Pune. This is Delhi. Okay, so you have Microsoft Office in the entire India, and if you consider the computers within the Bangalore location. Okay, so in the Bangalore location, consider you have around 5,000 employees are there, and you have 5,000 computers in the Bangalore office. Okay, so that Bangalore office connectivity we call it as LAN. Means the connectivity between all the 5,000 computers within the Bangalore location, we call it as LAN, local area network. So let me shrink it. Say for example you have some good number of computers. within the Bangalore location. All are connected here. So this particular setup we call it as LAN, local area network. So when I consider Microsoft, all the offices, like including Hyderabad, including Pune, including Delhi, all these locations are interconnected. So a person from Bangalore location can communicate the computers of other locations as well. He can establish the connection of Hyderabad, he can establish the connection of Pune, he can even talk to the computer or the person who's sitting in Delhi. Okay, so all these computers are also interconnected with the help of some service provider. Maybe they have some lease line out, they have some fiber channel connection between each officers. Okay, and this connection all together, the bigger picture, all together, this bigger picture, we call it as WAN, wide area network. Okay, this is the only difference. So when somebody talks about LAN, that is the connectivity between the computers within your office location. That's all. Say for example, you are working in an office in Bangalore. In that office, if you have 20, 30 computers, all the 20 computers can talk to each other. That is called as LAN, local area network. Okay, and then if you have two, three offices, say for example in Bangalore only one office in RT Nagar, one office in Jai Nagar, one office in Malleshwaram. A person from RT Nagar can talk to Malleshwaram and Jai Nagar. Similarly, the person from Jai Nagar can talk to Malleshwaram and RT Nagar. So altogether, three offices have the communication here, and that overall, as a broader picture, we call it as LAN. That is called wide area network. Clear? Any questions here?
No, sir.
Okay. So if you are
Yes, sir.
clear, yeah, if you are clear, now I was also talking to you yesterday, right? So our identity is, what is our identity then? What
IP address, sir.
our identity? What is your identity, guys? If I want to send a letter to you, if I simply write Santosh, will you get a letter? Or if I simply write Pradyumna, will you get a letter?
No, sir.
Yep. Then what is your identity?
Address.
Yes, your address is your identity. Correct? Na? Similarly, the computers will also have an address to recognize them over the network. And that address we call it as IP address. Okay. Now, what do you mean by an IP address? Any idea what you mean by an IP address? An IP address is nothing but it is an logical address given to the computer to recognize the computer over the network. See, if you don't have a network, if you don't have the internet, if you don't have, I mean, if you're not communicating anything with external party, the computer does not require an IP address. See, you have a computer at home, you don't have internet, you don't have any network connection. You can just open the computer, do some operations, play some videos, play some songs. You can do some print operations. You can do your all the standalone activities at the computer. But in the case of IT, it is not like that. Computer is not just IT, guys. Computer is not just IT. IT means it information. So exchanging the information, correct na? Exchanging the information happens over network only, correct na? So if you want to have a network to the computer, then obviously that computer should have an IP address. Correct, right? If you do, and when I talk about the network, there are lakhs together computers available in the network over the entire world. So how will I know? Say for example, today you are sitting in somewhere, okay, and I am sitting somewhere. If I want to talk to you, your computer, right? So your computer will have an IP address. See here, if you go to the browser, your Google Chrome, if you go, okay, and if you type what is my IP, okay, it will tell you your computer public IP address. See, If you click on this one, it will tell you your computer IP address is 49.37.242.173. So currently my computer with this internet, it is identifying like this. Using this IP address only people will trace, polices and all will trace what has happened, from which computer they have logged in. All this information will be determined by using this IP address only. So IP address is very very crucial. Then let us understand more about IP address today. Okay, so let me get started with the slides. So as I already told you, the today's topic is the IP address. So now you already know IP address is nothing but it's a logical address. Okay, it's an address given to a computer to recognize over the network. So if I want to broadly classify this address, there are two types of address. One is physical address, another one is logical address. Physical address means, as the name itself is telling you, the address which is given to the physical computer, that is called as physical address. Means when the manufacturer manufacture the computer, they will give one address to your hardware. Like if you buy a car, that car will have one chassis address or chassis address, engine address, correct, right? That is a physical address that will never be duplicated. If you have a chassis, your chassis number will be there. The engine has got a number, and the engine number is common in the entire world. No other engine or no other chassis will have the same address. The same fashion goes in the computer as well. When the manufacturer manufacture the computer, they will give one address, and that address we call it as physical address. That physical address, it's a combination of alphabets and numeric, and it is of 12 digit. You see here, if you see the address I have written here, physical address, see here, this is the physical address of the computer. Okay, D8 3B BF 33 CE 12. So this address will never be duplicated. This address will never be given to any other computer in the entire world. It is similar to your IMEI number of your phone, correct? Na? So we also call this physical address as MAC address. MAC address means media access control. It is a unique number which is used to track the devices over the network. So that's why, if when the police are doing some kind of investigation or something, they will try to find out the IMEI number, which IMEI number the phone has come, in which network the connectivity was there, correct, right? They will do the tracing with respect to the physical address, because physical address is always same. You have a mobile phone, and that mobile phone will have a same IMEI number, but you can change the phone number, correct, right? That is why that IMEI number we call it as a physical address. And the number, mobile number, if you change the SIM card, the number will change. That is called as logical address. So the address is getting classified into two types. One is physical address, and now you know physical address means it is the address given to the computer. You may ask a question, sir, where is this address will store? Computer means it has got multiple parts in it. We have motherboard, we have hard disk, we have RAM, correct? Now we have SMPS. There are many other things are there. You may ask a question, sir, in which part of the computer this physical address will be there? It's a good question. If you don't ask also, I will give you the answer. See, the physical address will be stored in the network interface card of the computer. The NIC card, NIC card, or we will also call it as network interface card. Okay, so the network interface card will hold the physical IP address. Say for example, in your computer you have multiple network interface card. You have a LAN card, that will have a physical address. You have a Wi-Fi card, you will have a different physical address. You will have a what is that, the Bluetooth connection, you will have a different IP MAC address. How to verify the MAC address? Very simple. Yesterday you went to command prompt, and to check the IP address you used a command. Can somebody tell me what was the command? To check the
IP
IP
config.
address, yep, there is a command you used, ipconfig. This is to check the IP address of the computer. See, you don't see the physical address, you will only see three IP addresses are there: 192.168.190.17, 192.168.176.176, and 192.168.0.100. There are three IP addresses are there because I have three to four, I think three network interface card ncpa.cpl. If you see, you will be seeing how many number of network interface. See, I have multiple network interface cards are there: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Correct na? So since I have eight network interface card here, and out of eight, four are connected. This is connected, this is connected, this is also connected, and this is also connected, and that is why you will see addresses here. Okay, and one is not. Bluetooth does not have the IP address. That is the reason it is not showing. But three have got the IP address. Okay, and each and every network interface card will have a physical address. See, if you look at this one, I should ideally have 8 physical addresses now, correct, right? How to check the physical addresses? It's very simple. If you want to see the IP address, you will only run IP config. If you want to see all the other information, you will put IP config slash all. If you put IP config space slash all, with it is a switch actually. If you hit enter, then you see all the information. See, if I scroll up little bit, you can see, yeah, you see here I have a media disconnected, I mean some ethernet adapter is there. Okay, and see, it is our physical address 8C1C45BC9196. Then I have one more ethernet adapter 3, and the name is, this IP address is different, so physical address is different: 00090FAA0001. Similarly, if you see, it has got a physical address, different physical address, Wi-Fi LAN. See, this is my wireless LAN adapter. It is also different MAC address. So basically, the MAC address is resided in the network interface card. Due to some reason, if your network interface card got corrupted, or it got damaged, and you are changing the network interface card, then when you check the physical address will be changed, because you are removing the old the faulty LAN card or the network interface card, and you are connecting a new or installing a new network interface card. Obviously, since the MAC address is resided in the network interface card, that address will be changed. Okay, that is called as the physical address. Now you know, physical address means it is the address given to a computer during the manufacturing, and that physical address will be stored in the network interface card. When you change the network interface card, only then the physical address will change, otherwise physical address will never be changed. Okay, then that's about the physical address. Now let us move on to the logical address. This logical address, we will also call it as IP address. This is very very important, guys, from here onwards. So logical address means it's a physical, it is the internet protocol address. We will also call it as the logical address, because logical means the logic for, say for example, you are looking at a problem. When you look at a problem, the logic that you are applying to resolve an issue is different, and I look at the issue and I try to resolve in a different manner. So this logic is relative. Relative means that varies from person to person. The way you look at the problem is different. The way I look at that problem is different. Maybe he or she will look at in a different fashion. So the logical address means, it is logical means it keeps on change. No, it is not necessarily the logic will be the same. That is why when you connect your Wi-Fi network, the computer will get a different IP address. When you connect to the LAN card, you will get a different IP address. If you go to your office and connect to the network, you will get a different address. That's what I'm talking about here. The logical address means it is a it is the internet protocol address. It is the, this address will keep on changing. Like it is your temporary address. Okay, in your Aadhaar card you will have two address. One is your permanent address, another one is your mailing address. Correct na? So since it is logical, the logic can be different. Okay, this address will be keep on changing. Okay, that is about the logical address. So if I further divide this logical address or the physical address, there are two versions of the IP addresses. Okay, when I talk about the IP address, there are two versions of IP address. Okay, one is IP version 4, another one is IP version 6. So the IP version is a 32-bit numerical value. If I put ns lookup and type the facebook.com, if I want to see the facebook.com IP address, if you want to see not only Facebook, if you want to see a particular website or computer IP address, you can go to command prompt and type ns lookup, type facebook.com, ns lookup,
Yes.
yeah, facebook.com. If you see, it is giving you two IP addresses. I am trying to no, I am telling to my computer, can you please give me the IP address of this facebook.com website? Okay, the name of the domain I tried was facebook.com, and if you see, it has got two addresses now. One is a big number with a numerical value, numbers, and colon, correct? It is because it is the IP version 6. It has got 128 bit. It has got alphabets, numerical values, and special characters too. Okay, so that is the difference. And this is the one is IP version 4. See, IP version 4 is 32-bit value. It's a numerical value. It has got 4 octet. See, four numbers are there: 163.70.138.35. But the IP version 6 has got multiple. See 2A03 colon 2880 colon F184 colon 81 colon face colon B00C colon 0 colon 25D. See, it is, you are not able to remember this number at all, but somewhat this 4 digit can be remembered. So this is called as IP version 4, and this is called as IP version 4, IP version 6. This is how the IP version 4 and this is IP version 6 looks like. Okay, when you look at an IP address, you will be able to easily tell, yes, this is my IPv4 and this is my IPv6. Then you may ask a question, sir, why do we have two classes? See, now, if you go to the 5 years back, in a house you would have only seen one mobile phone, correct na? But as we are growing, as we are evolving, each person has got two phones. I have three phones with me. Okay, and we have smartphone, we have smart watches, we have smart TV, smart fan, smart refrigerator, smart cooker, many other smart devices are there at home, correct, right? Imagine when you say smart, that means that will have a network, internet. You can use the internet there, correct, right? So when you want to use the internet, that devices should have an IP address. If there is no IP address, you cannot have the network, because when I start initially I told networking, information technology means it is network only. If you don't have the network, you will not have the communication. So ideally all the smart devices will have an IP address. As the more and more number of devices are getting increased, the IP version 4, then there is a limit for this IP version 4. Okay, so those are getting exhausted. So thinking that in the mind, the research and development team, they have invented a new version called IPv6. Okay, that IPv6 looks like this. Okay, it's a 128-bit alpha numerical and special character involved address. Okay, to keep the IP address for the future generation, the IP version 6 is invented. But currently in the market, we still have the IP version 4 is widely used. Only big gains like Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Google, big companies, they are using IPv6, but not everybody using the IPv6 as of now in the market. Okay, so now you know IP address, and there are two versions of IP address. One is IP version 4, another one is IP version 6. That is the reason yesterday when I go to the network interface card here, ncpa.cpl, to give the IP address, what I did, I went to the properties of it, and there I went to the internet protocol version 4. See, you have IP version 6 here. If you go to the properties, see, you see the difference. Here it's a bigger number. You have to manually add the each and everything. But if you see the IP version 4, it is not showing that way it is showing. See, it is simply asking what is the IP address. See, dots are there, 4 dots. Okay, 3 dots and 4 octets are there. Subnet mask, gateway, and DNS address. That is the reason I went to the IP version 4 and added the IP address. Okay. So since I told you we are still using the IP version 4, let us understand little bit more on the IP version 4 only. This IP version 4 further gets classified into two types. One is public IP, another one is private IP. So public IP means this IP address is available over the internet. Means if you have a public IP, I can directly connect from my laptop to your laptop. I can see your data, I can take the control of your computer. Whatever operations you are doing in front of by sitting in front of the computer, I can even do by sitting at my home if I know the public IP of your computer. So I can connect to your computer from anywhere over the world. See, I am in US, you are in India. If you give me your IP address, I can connect from here to your computer. I can control your computer. Correct? Na? That is called as public IP. And public IP is not a free IP, it is a chargeable IP. You have to pay for the IP address. For the public IP address, you have to pay per month around 1,500 rupees. They will charge each and every. I mean, the public service provider like your Geo, Reliance, or Airtel, Tata, many other network providers are there. With whatever or whomever you go with, you have to pay for the public IP. It is not a free IP address. Then let us understand private IP address. So private IP address means it is your own IP addresses. So this private IP addresses it's a free IP address. You are not charging any money for the private IP addresses. Okay, that is called as private. Public means it is chargeable IP address. It is available over the internet. Private IP means it is within your office network. There is no external. I cannot communicate with your private office network. Okay, only you can have the access to your network. That is called as private, and it's a free IP address. Okay, so since to increase the security, we never use public IP address in the offices. Say for example, I was referring the Microsoft Office, right? There are 5,000 employees, and all the 5,000 employees has got their computer, and all the computer will never use a public IP address. They always use a private IP address, because if you use a public IP, anybody can talk to the computer, anybody can connect to the computer. The hackers can connect to the computer, and they can give the viruses. They can inject the viruses, or they can even take the control of your computer and ask for the money or ransoms. Correct? Na? That is why we never use public IP addresses in the offices. We always use private IP addresses. Okay? And that private IP address now further gets classified into 5 classes. Okay? The the same thing I told you, IP version 4 means it's a 32-bit logical address. It has got 4 octet. And you see here, 4 octet, the number is here like octet means, see, 32-bit means basically 32 numbers, because computer does not understand numbers. Now it will only understand binaries. That is why we are talking about the bits here. So if I talk about the bits, 32-bit means it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So each and every octet will be separated by a dot value. Okay, and if you count, this is 8, this is 8, this is 8, this is 8. If you sum up 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, it is 32-bit. That is why we call it as 32-bit. Okay, and this number is there now, this 192 168 39.240. This number will always vary between 1 to 255. If you write a number like 192.168.39.256, it is not a valid IP, because the number between each octet or within the octet should vary between 1 to 255. You may ask a question, sir, why it is 255 only max? Minimum can be anything, but maximum should be 255, because there is a formula called 2 to the power of n minus 1. If you apply this policy, I mean that formula for any of the octet, okay, let me write one octet now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you put 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 5, 2 to the power of 6, 2 to the power of 7. Okay, 2 to the power of 0 is 1. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. This is 4. This is 8. This is 16. This is 32. This is 64. And this is 128. If you sum up all these things, 256 comes. 256 minus 1 is 255. That is why the number will always vary between 1 to 255. If you cannot write more than 255. If you write more than 255, it is an invalid IP address. Hope the IP address, I mean, what is this 32 bit? What is this 4 octet? Octa means what? Octa means 8. Correct? Nah? Since it is 8 bits, we call it as octet. Octa means 8. Nah? That is why we call it as octet. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 octets. And each octet of 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. This is how the IP address will be derived. This is clear? Then I will write some more IP address. Now I'll ask you whether it is a valid IP address or it is invalid IP address. You have to tell me. Okay. Now only I'll write to make you understand. Please, you have to speak, guys. Okay. So let me write one IP address. 1 dot 2 dot 3 dot 4. Is it a valid IP?
Yes.
Sorry. The number should vary between 1 to 255. This is the main formula. So there are 4 octet, yes. There are 4 numbers, yes. And they are separated by dots, yes. And the number are vary between 1 to 255. Then obviously this is a valid one. Understood? Now we will write one more. 192.168.168.500. Is it a valid one?
No.
Not valid,
Invalid.
sir.
It is
No,
an
sir.
it is an invalid one. Okay. 256.291.243.999. This one,
Invalid.
Not
No,
valid,
sir.
sir.
it is an
Not valid.
invalid. It is an invalid one because see, not necessarily the number should be the last one which is higher. Any octet for that matter. Each and every octet should have the number between 1 to 255 only. If any of the octet has got more than 255, then it is invalid only. Okay. And now I will write one more. So 192.168.191.0. What is this one?
Valid, sir.
It's valid, sir.
Valid, sir.
How it is valid?
Because it's under 255.
Because it did not cross over.
How about the last
Sir,
octet?
not valid, sir.
How about the last octet? The
Zero,
last
sir.
octet is 0 is there.
Yes.
Yeah, the last octet is 0 means it
Yeah,
is
not.
not an IP address, it is a network ID. We call it as a network ID. If you write the last number as the 0, that is called as network ID. Okay, so it is not an IP address because 0 is not a number, correct? It is just a network ID, that's all. Okay, so I think now you are somewhat better. Now you are able to understand whether it is a valid IP or invalid IP. Now, I told you, right? Like the classes. Let us understand the classes, and then I will show you. I'll teach you how to identify whether it is a public IP or a private IP. Okay, if you know that one, it is enough. The intention of the class is fulfilled. Okay, so let me go to the. Now let me quickly repeat. Okay, this one. The IP address will always vary between 1 to 255 because the number should not cross 255. If the number is crossing 255, that means it is an invalid It is not an IP address at all, because the number should always vary. Because when you take one octet and use the formula 2 to the power of n minus 1, if you put 2 to the power of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you see the number 2 to the power of 0 is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. If you sum up all the number, it comes 256. 256, if you put the formula like 2 to the power of n minus 1, it comes to 255. And that is the reason the IP address will always vary between 1 to 255. And that is why you said the sum of the IP addresses are invalid. Okay. Now let us try to understand. I told you there are 5 classes. What are all the 5 classes we have? So there are 5 classes. The first one is class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. There are 5 classes starting from class A up to class E. Okay. The range I told you, right? 1 to 255. So what we have done, we have classified, we have separated the range. If an IP address that is begin with 1 to 126, see here, the first octet, only I am referring here the first octet. You have to look for the first octet only. If the first octet is starting between or ranging between 1 to 126, any IP address you take, if that is the first number is begin with 1 or between 126, that is called as class A. The remaining 3 digit can be anything. Okay, that is called as class A. And class B is 1, it is ending with 126, and after that it is starting 128. There is one number is missing, 127. I'll tell you why later. And the class B is beginning with 128 and up to 191. This is class B. Class C is 192 to 223. That is class C. Then 224 to 239 and 240 to 255. Okay, so there are 5 classes, but only the first 3 classes can be used. We can use only the first 3 classes, class A and B and C. Okay, the remaining we cannot use. These are dedicatedly kept for some research and development and some multicasting purposes, and you cannot use those IP address. That is dedicatedly kept for some special purposes. No civilian can use, or no organization can use, the class D and class E IP addresses. Okay, there are some bodies in the internet information, I mean the internet information technology boards are there, no? So they have dedicatedly kept this class D and class E. It is not for usage. That is only for the research and development and multicasting purposes. But the first 3 classes are only for usage. Let us understand the let us understand what are those. Okay, now you know the class A is from 1 to 126, class B is 128 to 191, and class C is 192 to 223. So this 127 is missing. Everything has the connectivity. After 126, 127 is not there, but 128 is there, 128, 191. After 191, 192 is there, and after 23 is there, 223. After 224, so connectivity is there here. Up to 1 to 255 there is a connectivity, but only one number is missing. That is called as 127. So this 127 we call it as a loopback adapter IP address. Means if an IP address that is begin with 127 and remaining any number, we call it as a loopback adapter. The loopback adapter means it is an address given to the network interface card locally. To verify the health of the network interface card, we will use this. Say for example, if I go to command prompt and try to ping, ping, and you type 127 dot any number between 1 to 255, 123 dot 143 dot 22, sorry, 223. See, I am getting the response. You can also check it from your laptop. Okay, just begin with the first number is 127, another number is anything you can put, you will get the response. But the first number is 127, and the remaining 3 octets should vary between 1 to 255. So that is a valid IP address, and that's a loopback adapter IP address. So since you are getting the response here, that means the network interface cards you have in your laptop all are working perfectly fine. So there is no issue with the network interface card. Basically, to check the working status of the network interface card, we will use this command called ping and the loopback adapter IP address. Okay, so the loopback adapter IP address is given to the to verify the network interface card health. See, it's a loopback adapter IP address will be used to check the health of the network interface card of your computer. Okay, now you know, let me go and write some IP address, and you need to tell me whether it is belongs to which class, or whether it is belongs to which valid IP, public valid IP or not. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I'll write the range here so that it will be easy for you since you are beginning. Class A will be always 1 to 126. Okay, B 128 to 191, C 192 to 223, D 224 to 239, E 240 to 255. Now you have the range. Okay, I will write some IP address. You need to tell me whether it is IP, I mean it is which class it is belongs to. Okay, fine. So let me write first only 1.2.3.4. Which class it is belongs to? Just look at the first octet. You only
Class
have,
A, sir.
yeah, it is class A IP address. You have to look only for the first octet. Okay. Now 1.128.192.224. What is this?
Class A, sir.
Yep. Now 126 dot 126 dot 126 dot 126.
It's Class A IP address, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Now 160 dot 1 dot 5 dot 10.
It's class B.
Yep. Absolutely right. Okay. Now 200 dot 100 dot 200 dot 255.
Class
It's
C, sir.
class C.
It is class C.
C.
Yes. So now we are able to understand and identify this addresses belongs to which class, because the class of the IP address will be decided on the first octet. If the first octet is ranging between 1 to 126, we call it as A. If the first octet is between vary between 128 to 191, we'll call it as class B. If the first octet is ranging between 190 to 223, we call it as class C. So it's good. Now you are able to understand what whether the IP address is a version 4 or version 6, whether the IP address belongs to which classes. Correct now? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Now,
Yes, sir.
now I want you to identify whether this IP address is a public IP or a private IP. That is important. Correct now, because you need to know which IP address I should use, because public IP if you use you have to pay for it. Correct now. That is why the same thing here, this one. So in each and every classes, okay, for the private range there is a number dedicatedly kept. See, I told you only three classes can be used: class A, B, C, right? And in the class A, not all the number should be used for the private range. Only the first, if the number with 10, only the 10 is given to in the class A. Only 172 is given in the class B. Similarly, only 192 is given in the class C. If an IP address that is begin with 10, 172 and 192, any number 10, 172, 192. Apart from this, any number you can call it as a public IP address. If the IP address are belongs, I mean starting with 10 or 172, 116 or 192, 168, only those are the private IP address. Rest all is public IP address. So let me go back here. So I told you the class A private range is 10. Class B private range is 172.16. At least you keep 172. So class C is 192.168. Okay. So now I will write some IP address, you need to tell me whether it is a public IP or a private IP. Okay, let me write one IP address, 2.4.6.10. What is this IP address?
It's class A.
It is class A, public or private? See, I have written the
Public.
yes, I have written the private IP ranges here. Only three numbers are there for private: 10, 172, or 192. If the IP address that is not beginning with these three numbers, we call it as a public IP address. Simpler. Now I will write one more: 10.4.6.10. What is this IP address?
Private, sir.
It's a
Class
private,
A.
IP address. Okay, so now I will write 172.16.200.1. What is this?
It's a private
It
address.
is
Private address. Class B.
Yeah, it's
private,
a
sir.
class B private and valid IP address. You need to think like this: it's a class B, it's a private IP address, and it's a valid IP address. Okay, now I will write one IP address: 172.200.300.100. What is this IP address?
Invalid.
Public address, sir. Class B.
Invalid.
It's a invalid class B private address. Correct na? Because I have written 300 here. So
Yeah,
it's an invalid
300.
IP. If you look at, it's a class B IP address and it's a private IP address. But basically it is an invalid class B private IP address. Very simple. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now let me go back to the slide. I want to tell a little bit on this. You may ask a question, sir, why do we segregate this as another 5 minutes or 10 minutes? I will wrap up, okay? You may ask a question, sir, why do we call it as, classify it as class A, B, and C? Why can't we use it as a single? See, why this classification is done to effectively use the IP addresses. See here, in the class A, there are 4 octet. In the 4 octet, only the first octet is net. N. N means it is network bit. See here, N means it is network bit. H means host bit. Network bit means it tells number of networks. Host means it tells number of computers can be connected. Okay. So here, where you see more H, there you can connect more computers. Where you see more N, there you can create more number of network and less number of computers. I'll give you an example. If you look at Microsoft. Microsoft has got very less offices, but more number of employees. More number of employees means more number of computer devices are connected. That is the reason for the bigger organization, they always go with the class A because their offices are less number of offices are there, but they need more number of computer connected. That is the reason they go for class A IP addresses. And some scenarios, you don't know how many offices you are now opening or how many number of computers are there. So to balance, people will go with the class B because there you have equivalent number of networks and equivalent number of computers can be connected. And the last one is, okay, I'll give you one very good example so that you can correlate. When you have more number of officers and less number of users, people will go for class C. For example, you might have seen the Airtel outlets or Vodafone outlets. Every area you have an Airtel office. Correct? Every area you have Airtel office. In Bangalore itself, we have around 65,000 offices, Airtel offices in Bangalore. Okay. So there you have one or two users only will be sitting. Correct? Na? Hardly 2-3 people will be there in each. Wherever you go, maximum 10 users are there, or 10, 3-4 computers or 10 devices will be there. That's all. That case, we wanted more number of network for each and every office. There will be a separate network. Correct? Na? Each and every office is separate network. That is the reason we use class C for more number of networks and less number of computers. Hope this is clear. Hello, guys. Can you? Hello.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yes, sir.
yesterday while adding the IP address, I told you you should add three parameters. One is you should add the IP address and you should add the subnet mask and then gateway. So here you see the class A subnet mask is 255.0.0.0 because if you see here network bit represented by 1 and host bit represented by 0. If you put 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? If you put 0 here because host bit represents 0 and in the class A all the h if you put 0 it is like 0 0 0 and in the end you are putting 1. So if you put all, I mean 2 to the power of 0 to 2 to the power of 7 formula, it comes to 55, and that is the reason the subnet mask for class A it is 255.0.0.0. Similarly for class B it should be 255.255.0.0, and for class C it is because there are three ends 255.255.255.0. This is the subnet mask for the class C. Clear? So that automatically calculates. See, if I go to network interface card ncpa.cpl, if I open any of the network interface card, see, let me open this VMware Ethernet 03, okay? And if I go to IP version 4 properties, and if I just click on something like, say for example, can somebody tell me one class A IP address? One class A IP address randomly. Much appreciated if you tell.
Sir, 255 dot
How much?
255 dot
Class
255
A,
dot
class A,
255 dot.
no, class A IP
One,
address. IP address.
Oh,
one
class
dot
yes,
four
sir.
dot
Yeah, okay, sir.
one dot
One
Two.
dot
142,
142 dot
one 148
148
or 190.
190. Correct, na? See, it is absolutely correct because the first number is begin with 1 and all the other octets are between 1 to 255. It is absolutely a valid class A private IP address. It's public IP address, okay? So if I simply put the tab, I told you, na, class A means it is 255.0.0.0. I'm just putting the tab and you see automatically the subnet will be populated. See, it automatically populated 255.0.0.0. If I put instead of class A, if I put class B 129, okay. So let me put 129 and you see 129.1.4.10, and if I put the tab you see 255.255.0.0. Okay. Similarly, if you put class C, the computer is designed such a way it should read and understand, okay. 192.192.192.100. If I put tab you see class C IP address and the subnet mask populated is 255 255 255.0. Okay, so then the gateway you should always the first IP address. The first IP address is your gateway, like say for example in this 192 dot 192 dot 192 dot 1 is the first IP because first number is 1, last number is 255, correct, na? That is the reason this should be the gateway. And if somebody asks you what is the network ID of this one 192 let me write here 192.192.192.100, right? The gateway for this should be the first IP address 192.192.192.1, and the network ID. If somebody asks what is the network ID, you first octet look at the class C, right? What is the class? This is class C. Class C means there are 4 N's, 3 N's. So you have to write 3 digit like this 192 dot 192 dot 192 dot and the last one digit is 0. This is your network ID of this IP address. And similarly, if I write 10 dot 1 dot 2 dot 10, if somebody tells you can put 10 dot because only the first one is the number, right? So you can even put like this 1 dot 1 dot 2.0, or you can even put 10.0.0.0. It depends upon that particular network. If your network is like /24, /24 means 3 digits. This is 24 means for 24 bits you are leaving to the network, and only 1 bit is for the host. If that is the case, you will have only 255 IP addresses. Okay, this is clear. I will tell you that one next. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
At least now you know how to identify whether it is a class B, IP version 6 or IP version 4, and then what is MAC address. And within the IP version 4, you are able to tell which class this IP address belongs to, and then you are able to identify whether it is a valid IP or invalid IP, whether it is a public IP or a private IP. And by looking at the subnet mask, you can tell, okay, this belongs to class A, B, or C, and you are able to write the network ID also, right? Now let us understand little bit on the subnetting. Okay, so subnetting means it is a concept of dividing larger number of network into smaller network, small network. Okay, for the effective utilization of the IP address. Okay, so here I told you, if I take class A, more number of IP address I was telling you. Let me write the class A 10.0.0.0 slash okay 10.0.0. This is the class A network ID. Okay, so now how the IP address are vary, I'll tell you first. First number will be starting like this, 10.0.0.1. Next one is 10.0.0.2. Next one is 10.0.0.3. Like this it will go up to 10.0.0.255. Once it is reaches to 255, then the next IP address is this one, 10.0.1.1. then it go up to 1.2, 1.3, it go up to 10.0.1.255. So the maximum number is 255. Then the next series will start. Okay, next series will like 10.0.2.1, then 2.2. Similarly it go 2.255. Then it start 10.0.3.1, it go up to 3.255. Like that, this till this 3 becomes 255. 255.1 to 255.255. Then this number will start with 1. Like that, the last IP address is in this range is 10.255.255.255. Okay, so if you see here /8, if I put /8 means only the first octet is for the network. If you see here, class A means what? Class A means it is n, only one n is there, remaining all are h, correct na? So you will have less number of network. This is 8 bit, remaining only 8 bit is for the network, remaining all are the host, correct na? Means if you see here, if you put the class A /8, maximum you can use these many IP addresses. How many it is? It is 100,000, 10,000, lakhs, 167 lakhs of IP address can be used. How it is? This is how. If you count everything, na, like 0 to 1, 0 to 255, and then 1 to 1.1 to 1.255, 2.255. If you sum up all this IP address, na, if you sum up all this IP address, that will come this range. 167 lakhs of IP addresses will be there. Okay, so what we will do, instead of putting /8, we are putting /24 like that. If you put /24, it is only 254 IP addresses. I will tell you how it is. Let me go to the one note. This is not our topic, guys. This is networking topics. I'm just giving an idea. Okay, this is all CCNA topic. If I write 10 dot oh 1 dot 2 dot 3 dots slash 24, that means so that means you are only giving 24 bits for the network, means all the 24 bits for the network. That means you will only have the last digit. Last digit means you will only have one digit, 1 to 254 250 255. Okay, so only 255 IP address will be there. In that, one IP address will go to the gateway. So 254 is the free IP addresses. I'll write 10 dot no 1 dot 2 is the network ID. You cannot change anything, and the last digit is 0 is there. And if you write from 1 to 255, there are about 255 IP address are there. In that, one IP address will go to the gateway address. So remaining 254 IP address will be there. That is what I have written here in the slide. See here, if I write /24 here, you will only have 254 IP addresses. 256 will be there last. In that, 2 to the power of n minus 1, if you put, 255 will come, and the first IP address will go to the gateway. So remaining 254 IP addresses. Okay. So this is the last one is you don't need actually, but you should know this value. The CIDR will call it as. Just take a picture of it so that you can refer. You will understand how many addresses will be there in the CIDR block. I think with that we are done with the IP address. Any questions, guys? Let me stop the recording and then I'll take the questions.